Welcome back to the Forensics Detailing channel. So the M135 has gone off to pastures new and I've replaced it with this lovely Melbourne red M140. In this video I'm going to talk about, if you're in the market for a performance hot hatch, the M140i is a car you definitely want to consider. Welcome back to the channel, guys. So we're doing a quick video today on the old M140. So the old Betsy's gone, the new one's in, and we're going to talk about that in a second. What else is going on the channel? Over here you can see this Martindale test machine. Okay, so this is for testing, or we're going to be using it for testing dye transfer and friction wear on leather. So there's another mega test coming on the Pro Detailers magazine, I think in about a week and a half's time, something like that. But from Pro Detailers and Ian from UK Detailing are going to be coming around, and we are going to be testing a whole load of products out. Not just on this machine, we're going to be testing some cleaners and then testing a whole load of protective leather products and then providing some recommendations. So that'll be interesting, and I'll try and do some filming on the day so we can do a sort of follow-up video of it. Also, these guys here from Revive Auto Apothecary reached out to me, new brand that have just started formulating all their own products. Sent me a couple of things that I'm going to put into the new products section of Pro Detailers. Haven't used them yet, so I don't know if they're good, bad or average. I will get round to doing something on the channel with them, but for the next few weeks there's a load of stuff coming through for brand reviews that's going to be taking up all the time that I get to do this. So it might take a bit of time to test these out, but I will say the products are beautifully kind of packaged and presented, and that shows a certain type of intent. These guys mean business. So right, on to the M140. So the main reasons for anyone looking for a performance hot hatch to perhaps consider the M140, really the amount of kind of bang for buck factor I think that you get with this car. You know, like I said, second-hand prices start at 20 grand. You can even pick up some new deals on them where they're close to 30 grand. Once they're specced up, a brand new one is probably, once you've put all the bells and whistles and the things you want, probably going to be looking at around 35 grand. That is still a hell of a lot of car for its money. If you are totally focused on like 0 to 60 times and beating other cars off the lights, then there's some other options out there that are good. But you know, you've got your RS3s, you've got your kind of your Mercedes, I can't remember the bloody name of it, A45 I think it is, things like that, Ford Focus RS, Golf Rs, all that other stuff, and they're all great cars, and they're cars that I would consider and have. You know, I'm not loyal to any one brand. I like the fact there's loads of different options out there, and a lot of them look cool as well. You might pick some of those options if the rear wheel drive thing doesn't suit you. Let's talk about some of the negatives with this car, okay? One of the big negatives is that a car that puts out that much torque on its rear axle, rear wheel drive, is going to have a few moments. And if you've not driven an M140 before and you get one and you take it out, you will pretty quickly, especially in the wet or if the road's a little bit greasy or a little bit uneven and you're booting it, you will have a few little twitchy moments where you realise that you have to be quite careful with this car, because it can be a bit of a handful when you're putting the power down, which is no real surprise. So it's not a complete package by any means, and there's, you know, a lot of people are kind of critical about some elements of the kind of the handling or the drive when it's under load. But saying that, you know, I had the 135 around the Nürburgring, and you could plant this thing into the corners with those Michelin Pilot Supersport tyres, and in the dry they stick well, and the chassis is brilliant. The cornering, the handling, the steering, that's the word I was looking for, I think is spot on. So you can criticise the fact that, you know, when you're putting down full power out on the British roads, you can have some twitchy moments with the setup on that car, but it's also part of the fun. What sort of niggles do you get with this car? Well, there's a couple of known issues that are not recalls that a lot of people are complaining about. One, the dreaded exhaust rattle, so like a buzzing kind of noise you'll hear in the cockpit, you know, when you fire it up, that can go away. Now, if you talk to, you know, I've spoken, one's done it once, and I spoke to the guys I've got it from, and they were quite good. They just said, you know, keep an eye on it, and if it becomes a problem, come back to us and we'll sort something out. But it doesn't seem to be doing it much now. The other one is when you're reversing on full lock, there seems to be a problem with the I don't know the ins and outs of this, but there seems to be some sort of problem with the geometry of the steering that means you can sort of drag the wheel, it will sort of snap out and you get a clunking noise, which sounds really bad, but you can kind of mitigate it by not going on full lock. So they're the two main issues with the car. There are some other little things, very minor things. There's a little bit of a rattle from the parcel shelf, which is a bit annoying. I'm going to try and sort that out this week by getting something under there so it doesn't flap around as much when you go over bumps. The electronic or the digital kind of indicator stalks can be a bit annoying to cancel, and you can find yourself kind of signalling one way and signalling the other, so you have to go the same way is the easiest way to cancel them. It's all pretty minor stuff. Overall, the interior of the car, starting to look a little bit dated, a little bit Art Deco in there, but that's all going to come down to personal choice. It still looks pretty decent on the interior of these M140s. The BMW leather is not the greatest quality. It's got this kind of rather brutal kind of embossment done on it, but again, that's going into personal taste. The interiors on them are generally okay. There's loads of things you might want to consider when you're speccing them up and going through. That's the fun bit of getting any car, is looking for what you want on the spec. I think the Harman Kardon sound system does make a difference, having gone from one that didn't have it to one that does. It's a better sound system. I'm not an audiophile, but I can hear the difference, so I'm glad it's got the Harman Kardon. Automatic or manual is going to come down to personal preference. The M135 was manual. I wanted to try automatic. You lose a bit of the fun playing, you know, going from the manual, going to the old flappy paddle pinball thing, or just running it in auto. But you get a little bit more performance out of it, and if you're using the car regularly, the automatics now seem to be the way of the world, and it's just less effort, less tiring to drive it around. So that's going to come down to personal preference. The automatic gearbox in it is fantastic though, especially when you're going full tilt on it, you know, revving hard and then changing up through the gears. It's got a nice little kind of boost, but it's a very quick gear change. One other really strong positive with these M140s is they are so easy to live with. They're a couple of £100 to tax. The insurance, you might get stung with any performance car if you're younger, but I don't pay that much on the insurance. I think about £600, maybe a little bit more. I don't know. You know, parts and servicing and all that sort of stuff is pretty reasonable with these, so they're a very easy car to live with. They also clock up, if you stick them in eco mode, you're doing a long drive, you can get like 45 to them on the motorway if you're cruising, you know, doing the old petrol conservation mode and stuff like that. Obviously if you're ragging them in full sports mode and stuff like that, your fuel consumption is going to go right down. But they're a really easy car to live with. And you know, if you're in an M3 or something like that, or an M4 or something else, you get extra performance, but the car, you're more cautious about kind of using it, and more cautious about taking it, you know, into the car park in Sainsbury's where everyone's parking about a foot away from you and all those sorts of things. Whereas this car, you're a little bit less precious about it, and the performance of it's not far off a full M car. There are some differences. It's not a full M car, especially around the handling, but in terms of power, I think the M140, certainly for me, is all the power I need. I don't really want to map it or do anything to the power side of it, because most of the problems that I talked about earlier on from handling really are just a result of having so much power going through that kind of rear axle. So that's all personal choice. Overall, the exterior styling on the 140s, I like it. There's some things that let it down. I think those those grille surrounds on it, they look a bit sort of frumpy and dated, so I'm going to get those probably done in gloss back, which is a common thing. The chrome front grills as well, I'm probably going to black those out. The ride height in it looks a little bit too high, makes those 18-inch M Sport alloys look a bit small, so I'm probably going to lower that down, and I'll probably also go for the M Performance exhaust. Upgrade on it. I know there's other exhaust options out there, but I'm on a budget here, and I've already got the tips for the 135 M Performance that I think I can put on that. If not, I'll find a way to get them on there. So there's all sorts of little cosmetic upgrades that you can do to make the car look a bit aggressive. That's another criticism of the 140, that for a car with that much performance, it almost feels a little bit too refined. With the standard exhaust, even when you're flooring it and going flat out, you're aware that you are accelerating at a kind of pretty phenomenal rate. But usually with other cars, you usually get to feel that from the engine and hear it from the exhaust system, and the 140 is lacking that a little bit, but it's something you can tweak if you want to. So overall, guys, I'm really pleased with the M140i. I just need to give it a damn good clean. I need to get a few little cosmetic things done on it to make it look a bit nicer, and I'll do a video on doing all those sort of cosmetic upgrades on it, because it's personal choice. I quite like the look of it now, but I think for that sort of performance, I just want it to be a little bit more aggressive, a little bit lower, and I want to get rid of some of those grey components on there just to make it look nicer and get that exhaust sorted out. So that'll be coming up on the channel. We're also probably going to take the car back over to the Nürburgring, speak to Reg about that some point in June or July when it starts to warm up, and I can't wait. I really want to get it back onto the Nürburgring, because that is so much fun. So that is it on the 140, guys. If you're in the market for a hot hatch, you know, a second-hand one or even a brand new one, but especially the second-hand prices on these are phenomenal, because BMW have been doing so many good deals, you know, lease deals on them. They've been selling them like hotcakes, which means there's quite a lot of them out there, which I suppose would be a negative for some people, but it also means you can go out and get yourself a bargain. And for that sort of 20 to 25 grand bracket, second-hand bracket, you know, you are getting one hell of a car with a hell of a lot of performance for not a lot of money. And all in all, I'm pretty pleased with it. That's it, guys. Quick one on the M40. Thank you very much for tuning into the Forensics Detailing channel, and I will see you soon for more detailing videos. Bye for now.
Holding on to what I knew, but the moment's gone. Where was I?